Right, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. Yes, hello, dog. Being harassed here. What a game. What an absolute cracker of a game. And as Springbok fans, I think we can all be sitting here smiling pretty ear to ear, I think is the word. Ear to ear. What a game. What an absolute perler and the best possible start to the Rugby Championship. And I'll tell you what, in terms of your World Cup campaign, a game like that will do us a world of good from a confidence point of view. To be able to have rested and rotated a lot, bring in players and send players over to New Zealand as well, and to still get that kind of result speaks volumes of the player depth that we currently have, which is very, very cool. So yeah, for me, very, very happy with what I saw out there tonight. Very interested to see how this player ratings goes. Now, first things first, before we start going through every individual player and giving them a rating, we've got to try and decide on man of the match candidates. So the question I'm really asking you is, who are we adding alongside Kurt Lawrence? Because let's be honest, he's right now very much the big option. So who would we like to add next to Kurt Lawrence? I want you guys to start. I'm just making sure this is all working. And I'd like you guys to start giving me some options in the chat. And let me know who you think we can put into this the race for man of the match. I'm just trying to see on my phone if the comments are working. They're taking a while to come through on my PC. The link to vote for and rank them is in the comments, the pinned comment there, so you guys can go and rank there. And we're going to go, and to be honest, I'd be very surprised if anybody gets less than a 6 today. I think that given how it was, I mean, with that kind of game, it's very unlikely that we're going to have bad ratings, isn't it? So hopefully we will have some, hopefully it'll be a nice little feel-good show where we kind of just sit there going, he played well, he played well, he played well. So I'm going to have some of the stats here so we can look at the stats. Obviously, stats don't always tell the full story. But it is nice to sort of have them guide us. So I'm seeing somebody else say, I'm seeing two people putting in Andre Esterhuizen, who was your man of the match. First things first, we're going to put in Kurt Lawrence with his 10 tries in a calendar year, or within the last calendar year. Unbelievable from him. I saw two people putting in Andre Esterhuizen's name in there. I'm seeing somebody's, what else do we got? I'm going to try to scroll up, see if anybody. So I'm just seeing Aaron Sir. So Albert Lincoln's throwing in PSF to Toy or Villy. I like the Villy shot. I thought that Villy LaRue was very good today. So I want to add Villy LaRue. Are there any other options, people? I want a fourth option for man of the match. We've had a call for PSF to Toy, so if you agree with that, throw that in. And let's get voting. Let's decide on a man of the match. Let's go and rank all our players 1 to 10. And it's so nice when we have a good game, because the player ratings are so positive. When we lose, oh my goodness! I mean, I've seen players get 2s, 1s almost. So when we go and rate players after a good game, then it's so cool to see the positivity that comes out of it. So hopefully that'll be the case tonight. And why not? Really, why not? Because with a game like that, you know, there's just no reason to be bleak. Dylan saying, Villy was brilliant. Vic putting in Dwayne. Hans saying Kubus. I mean, we can go with 3 if we want to. I'm not seeing too many people backing up the same nominations. To be honest, I think those 3 are probably. I'm actually gonna throw them out there to get us going, so that we can start. So we've got, and I need to actually I need to make sure I'm ready. Because obviously we've got Argentina coming up. That game starts at 9:10, so that build up will start immediately after the show. So after the show, you don't have to do it again. Once again, you don't have to go anywhere. Basically, get your laptop, plug it in, get on the Wi-Fi, and just stay on the channel, because after this, we're going to go straight into the build up for the New Zealand versus Argentina. And then we're going to be live I'm saying the build up will be live, and then I'll be live with you guys for that game. It's an evening of rugby. I mean, it's like a romantic evening with the wife, but better, because there's rugby, and instead of your wife, it's me. And who wouldn't want to spend an evening with me? Apparently quite a few people, actually, which is probably why I'm single. But hey, let's not get bogged down about these things. I've got my 3 nominations there out there. You can go start voting. I'm very interested to see the type of votes we will get, and if anybody or if any other player apart from Kirtley is going to get some votes, or whether it's going to be very much a one horse race. And to be fair, it's a pretty impressive horse that would be in that one horse race. So I wouldn't blame you guys, if we only went with one horse. So yeah, boy. So again, and the reason I keep chatting is I want to give you guys as much time as possible. Again, this is the link. I want to throw it in the comments once again. Go and vote, because if you guys don't vote, then it's not as authentic. At the end of the day, we want this to be as cool as possible, and for that to happen, we need you guys to go and vote. So I'm going to refresh the page once again to make sure that all you guys' votes are going to be included properly, and then we are going to get going. And how is it? So if you're new to the show, and if you're new to the channel, by the way, because we have got a lot of, I think we basically had 2,000 subscribers in a day. I don't think we've ever done that. I also think that might have been the biggest watch along in rugby history. Fun fact. We will confirm that, but I can pretty confidently say that was probably, the biggest watch along in rugby history, which is pretty phenomenal. And it's all thanks to you people. So a big thank you for you guys for all the support. That's the biggest watch along so far. We're going to put some big numbers in this World Cup. As a community, we're growing a lot, and I think we're gonna get some pretty cool numbers this year, because we've just got such a cool community. We've got and I absolutely love the watch alongs, like the highlight of my week. And I mean, even now, player rating show, you got 500 people over here who are all ready to do the player rating show. Hopefully, you guys will come and join me with the All Blacks stream later. I mean, I don't want to be alone. I mean, you got to come keep me company. Especially because it's an Argentine team I don't know particularly well. And it's an interesting All Blacks team as well. A couple of interesting selections. D-Mac at 10 excites me. So let's go have some fun. Let's go see, as a Springbok fan, let's go see what the New Zealanders have in store for us for next weekend. We run over early. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We'll find out next weekend, obviously. But I mean, obviously, I think the fact that we've just gotten a bonus point victory against Australia, and yet Malcolm Marx is not in the country. Andre Paz are playing in the Rugby Championship, but Jason Colby is not currently in the country. Makazuma Pimpi, who I think is going to be under a little pressure all of a sudden after that performance from Kirtley Arendse, but there's a lot of very good players who are over in New Zealand already. So Faf de Klerk, for example, Evan Etzebeth might be playing next weekend. Franco Mostert, Jesse Creel is an interesting one that's gone overseas. But that's what I'm saying. So there's plenty of players who are over there, and yet we just absolutely took apart an Australian side, which we expected to be quite good because it's Eddie Jones, and they weren't good, if we're being brutally honest. I mean, they just weren't. That's not. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to be mean, but that Australian side did not play well today. I think we all actually expected so much more. I don't think it's unfair to say that I expected more and I was far off the mark. I think we all expected to see a lot more out of them. But that is how the cookie crumbles, isn't it? At the end of the day, and I think the biggest thing for us is that we always talk about this, don't we? We very confidently as South Africans say our depth is better than anybody else's out there. Today, that was backed up. Today, that was... You can sit there going, well, question our depth. You can't. Because a team without quite a few players just absolutely hammered Australia. So, anyway, let me stop babbling. And let's do some player ratings, shall we? So, as I said, how this works, 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Stephen Kitsoff, Spicy Plum, 4 carries, 7 tackles. He is a prop. Defender beaten, by the way. He didn't miss a single tackle, and I thought that he scrummed very well. I'm saying an 8 for Stephen Kitsoff. The way this works is I vote, and it basically does a summation of all the various votes. It rates an average for us, and it's averaged out at 7.6. And I think that's very fair. Mr. Spicy Plum has been in brilliant form throughout the season, and I thought tonight he was as good as ever. Stephen Kitsoff. Bongi Manambi, I think for me, was not great, actually. I thought that if you look at his stats, 6 carries, making 90 meters, 2 tackles, missed 1 tackle, 1 bad pass. But for me, lineouts were probably you lost 4 lineouts today, and Bongi Manambi is always such a reliable lineout operator. So it was frustrating. So I mean, Vic makes a very good point. You know, he had that great offload to Aronside to set up the try, and I thought in the loose carried pretty well, but you know, by his standards, I'm going to give him a 6. Maybe it sounds a bit harsh, but I'm going to give him a 6, and I think that 6.3, you guys are not far off the mark. I think that's fair. I think that he is somebody that holds himself to a very high standard. So I think he'll sit there and know that wasn't his best game today. He'll still be on the bench next week. I think Malcolm Marks will start. But yeah, and the nice thing about Bongi is that I said the lineouts let him down, but he was all right in open play. So he'll come off the bench next weekend, I think, to very good effect. I'm not worried about him, but today he was offered. Frans Malherbe, I tell you what, like a fine wine, like Mr. Reliability, that tight head, he's just so good, isn't he? 5 tackles, 2 carries, he even put in a young dive, didn't miss a single tackle. He was the definition of not putting a single foot wrong. I mean, he's a tight head, so he's never going to be a flary player. He's not near Tupou. He's busy making line breaks down the side and cool offloads. He's a proper, genuine tight head. But man, does he do it well. He's absolutely immovable. The fridge, his defense and the way and how important he is for our defensive system is very underappreciated in many ways. So, Owen France, for me, is going to get an 8. I thought he was, once again, really, really good. He's just, we're going to miss him, eh? We've got some good, 7.4, I think it's all right. We're going to miss him. I mean, we've got a couple of good titles coming through, but, jeepers, he's just Mr. Reliable. And this is the thing, you know, some people say, look at his weight, look at his size. I tell you what, he just doesn't do anything wrong. He never puts a foot wrong. And our scrums were very good. They were very good. Jean Klein, I must say, Jean Klein for me could go to the World Cup, and I wouldn't. In fact, to be fair, I thought both our locks were very good today. I thought Marvin Orie, in fact, I think Bongi's quite lucky. I thought Marvin Orie had a couple of 50-50 lineouts where I thought Marvin Orie took a couple of nice takes. Otherwise, it could have been a bit worse for Bongi. But I thought if when you think about the engine room, you think about the locks. And what's a lock's job? And that's to hit rucks, to make tackles, to carry it up. Yeah, 100% to carry. And obviously, Jean Klein did more carrying than Marvin Orie. But in terms of the engine room, in terms of that dirty grunt work that a lock has to do, which is why, despite being, you know, just shy of 6'3", I didn't do the whole lock thing because I'm like I'm not about the dirty work. I'm a flair player, you know. I'm too good to be hitting rucks. I need that ball in hand and shimmy. But these two I thought were so industrious, so industrious. I thought Jean Klein looked like he'd played 50 tests. I don't think anybody could have looked at him and said that's his first game for the Springboks. It's not his first international game. But I thought he looked so at home. So I'm going to give him a 7. And I think Marvin Orie for me is also going to get a 7. I think that Marvin Orie, 7.7. He's actually gotten the highest rating so far. And I actually don't mind that. I think today, Marvin Orie caught a lot of flack in the week. And what I always say about Marvin Orie, I understand why he's not maybe a fan favorite. Because at the end of the day, you've got, and it's tough on Marvin, you've got Archie Snyman, who's quick, big, athletic, throws wild offloads. And you look at him and you go, wow. Marvin Orie is not a wow player. But that's not a bad thing. You know, but he's a grafter. He's a proper grafter. So he'll make his tackles, he'll carry. At the Lions, when he played for the Lions, and I'm a Lions fan, he was always a good player, but his discipline was an issue. He's absolutely sorted that part out. And I thought today he just worked so hard. So again, nothing amazing, you know. He's not this like ridiculous, you know, offloader, like complete. I mean, he's not going to sit people down, but he's a proper grafter, and I thought that today he grafted very well. We talked about the fact that Australia were out to bully, and they asked Marvin. They said, "Listen, this big Australian pack are going to try and bully you," and I thought he was one of the people that you could see had taken that personally and said, "Yeah, cool. not as big as Will Skelton. I'm not even as big as Arnold or Nick Frost. But drawing a line in the sand, I'm going to make the tackles. And I thought he did do that very well. So interesting to see how the votes go here. 7.5, I'm happy for that. Again, I think he's starting to get the respect he deserves as Marvin Ory because, yeah, he's not a flash player, but he's a solid player and he grasps. He grasps. And sometimes that's what you need. You need people. Franco Mostert. People used to say Franco Mostert was too skinny and too lightweight. But I thought that he was really, really solid. Marvin Ory, this is, and I think we're starting to understand what they see in him because you get the same thing from him every single week. There are some players who are hit and miss. Moy Liebach, for example, and Elton Yankees. Daniel Billings, who used to be like that. Those really sort of X-factor type players. They're hit and miss. And the reason they're so good is because when they hit good. Marvin Ory is a solid 7 out of 7. Will give you the same performance week in, week out. And that consistency can't be bought. Somebody else who I think has silenced a lot of haters is Marco Mustardin. A lot of talk about the lack of pace in the loose trio today. A lot of people saying, that he shouldn't have been picked, that he's far too slow, coming back from injury. But today he was a bit of a human wrecking ball. I'll be interested to see if he does get on a plane and goes to New Zealand. So he made 37 meters. He beat 5 defenders, by the way, across his 8 carries, 6 tackles. He also had a very, very important turnover early on. Set a nice turn. I was hoping to see a bit more of that. Put it this way, he's not going to bench Kwaka Smith, who I think will start next weekend. But what I think he did do was remind people why he's in the setup, why he's around. And he's not just there, as a filler. He's there because he offers something. And I think that, first game back for the box in a while, was playing really well before he got that injury. So it was a pretty solid game from Marco. I'm going to go with a 7 again. 7.6. I think that's fair. I'll tell you what. A relief. Today was a proper PSGF the Toy appearance. He was everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. He looks fitter. I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just kind of felt that he moved around the park a lot easier. He looked fitter. He looked faster. He looked like that was the thing last year. And look, Franco Mostert might even start at 7 next week, the way he's been sent over early. And I think that's kind of, where the frustration came. As a year ago, we were watching PSGF the Toy and we were going, that's not the player that we remember. That's not the player that was winning World Player of the Year. Today I saw that player. It wasn't a masterclass of PSGF the Toy, but he was everywhere. His support lines, a couple of good pick up and goes, a couple of nice runs. His work rate, he was everywhere. And I thought he moved around the park very nicely. He looks a little bit trimmer, a little bit fitter after that injury layoff, and long may that continue. And because we want to, how nice is it to have, Kwaka Smith competing with Sia Khaleesi for the 6, PSGF the Toy competing with Franco Mostert for the 7, Dwayne Vermeulen, who I thought was absolutely superb today, competing with the Aston Villa for the 8. That is the depth we dream of. We're not even mentioning Dion Fourie. We're not even mentioning Marco Mustardin yet. We're not mentioning Evan Lewis, who are all good players. And that's the kind of depth that we sort of talk about. So I'm going to give PSGF Toy an 8. I thought he was really, really good today. 7.5. I'm interested to see who's got the highest rating. I think it remains John Clay, which is cool. Dwayne is for me sitting on an 8. I thought Dwayne was brilliant today. I thought 8 tackles, 8 carries. He made a couple of nice takes, 32 meters. He got around that park. Leadership-wise, I thought he led very well. And I think he showed. And again, Australia weren't good today, and we can't compare playing Australia to playing against Ireland, France, New Zealand, Scotland even these days. But I think Dwayne today reminded people what he's about and that he's still about that. A lot of people talking about his age, a lot of people saying it's over the hill. I saw a Dwayne Vermeulen today that reminded me of his 2019 season. Would I still start Jasper Beeson next weekend? Yes. 100% yes. But Dwayne was operated today. And I can now say with confidence that If Jasper Wiese starts, if Dwayne Vermeulen starts, I actually don't mind who, to be honest. And that's a brilliant position to be in. To literally not care whether Dwayne Vermeulen or Jasper Wiese are starting is a great position to be in. Because I think a year ago, people were ready to retire Dwayne. When he came back from injury, he was a little bit slow. He was always going to be, and that's what we kept saying. We were like, guys, he's coming back from a long-term injury. He missed the entire British Irish Lions series. It's going to take a while for him to get back into things. He now played a full season at Ulster, and he still got it. The man has still got it. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm going to give him an 8. Hey, there we go. You got the highest score so far. Come on, Dwayne. Good on you, Thor. He's also a nice guy. You can't hate the man. Old Customs 8, I think is Instagram showing. I want to do a couple of comments here. Will saying coach will start with the same starting 15 against the All Blacks. Bjorn saying Nines gave reasonable quick ball when that happened. Box looked unstoppable. Hans saying, well, imagine that in something to the top guys, All Blacks will get a hiding. Mamusa Ball saying Dwayne gave an 8.1 beast mode. The old dog still got the mongrel. I'll take him in the World Cup any day. Either a second string player, coach motivator, bloody hell, he must go now. And Cammy Davids, welcome Cammy, hasn't seen you in a while, saying PSG Victoria was showing why he was player of the year. 100% agree with that. And Kieran saying all we learned today was that Australia had regressed under Eddie Jones. Craig Cooper was a passenger. You can't do anything if you don't have the ball. Competent from SA, 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's an interesting one. We didn't give them the ball. It's a bit like France, where we said, no, you know what? You guys are fantastic. You guys like to kick. Cool. Kick to us. We're going to hold on to the ball. And we're going to take Romain Intermac out the game. Today, we took Craig Cooper out the game. And Craig Cooper is a guy, if you give him a lot of ball, oh my goodness, can he make you pay? He didn't, and the sad thing is, I wouldn't say Craig had a bad game today, because he just didn't have any opportunity. How many times do you reckon, look, that goal line clearance that was straight out, look, that was dreadful. That was dreadful. But I don't think Craig Cooper once got the ball on the front foot. I don't think once there was momentum, because obviously they played Nick White as the first receiver. So like the lineouts, straight down to Hooper, to White, often skip Craig Cooper, or if you get to Craig Cooper, the first thing you would do would be going to Reece Hodge or Iguitar as they try and find that overlap. So Craig Cooper wasn't part of the game today, and that for me is a great thing, because if Craig Cooper plays well, Craig Cooper's in the game, it makes me panic a bit. Cooper's I didn't think he was bad, actually. I thought a couple of times he was a little bit indecisive. I thought Grant Williams, when he came on, looked a little bit more direct. I thought he looked like a little bit more assured, actually, interesting enough. Obviously, it's nice to be able to come on to a field where you're dominating and stuff. But I don't think Cooper's played badly. So I'm going to give him a 7. 7.2. Yeah, I think that's the lowest score so far. No, sorry, Bongi 6.3. Yeah, which I think is fair. I think these ratings, by the way, are pretty spot on. Yeah. I thought that Kubas was not bad. I thought that at times he was very good. But put it this way, I don't think anybody today, and Grant Williams was good when he came on, but Faf de Klerk starts every day of the week. I think we know this. I don't think anyone's really going to even argue that. Faf de Klerk's our number 1 scrum off, and so should he be. And so say all of us. Money. On the money today, Mr. Money Liebach. What a game from him. I thought, to think that was his first start is impressive. Very, very impressive. I thought he kicked the touch really well. A couple of those long pass out wides was really good. I thought his goal kicking minus the first one was pretty spot on. I don't think we could have asked so much more from Money. He did get sat down for the last try. But you can't have everything. I was very happy with him. I thought he controlled the game very well. I'm going to give him an 8. 7.5, so maybe I've gone a bit higher there, but I was just very impressed with someone who is on his first international start and looked at home in the number 10 jersey. And what we need to understand with a guy like Monty Liebach is he'll have good games and he'll have bad games. So today was a great game. But let's remember this game. Let's remember what he can do. Let's not be those fans where if next weekend he plays and he struggles, we all of a sudden go, you see, he doesn't have it. No, back him. Let's back him. He played brilliantly today. He will have bad games in a Bok jersey, but look what he can do today. Today he looked comfortable. And the more he plays, and we've got to back him, the more he plays, the more he'll be able to produce performances like today on a regular basis. And that's what we've got to understand, and we've got to back, is that he's a special player. And he's a young player. He's younger than me. And I'm not old. I am a bit old. But not that old. So I think he's 25, 24? 25. He's 25. He's 26, I think, in a week's time. So he's a year younger than me. Spoiler alert, that's my age. But he's got years ahead of him. So let's back him. Let's give him a chance. Right, Kurt Lawrence said, I mean, this has to be, for me, a 10 out of 10. How do we not give a hat-trick try-scoring hero a 10 out of 10? So I'm just going to slap it there and see how 9.3. Kurt Lawrence, take a bloody bow. Mapimpi was getting a lot of slander, and we talked about it on the show, saying, is it justified? And we basically said we didn't think it was justified. We thought that, Mapimpi's still a number one boy. I tell you what, he is putting in performance after performance. He has now scored 10 international tries. The Boks have barely played 10 games in the last calendar year. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think today was his 8th game for the Springboks, maybe 9th. His 8th game. He's played 8 games for the Springboks. He's scored 10 tries. But Pimpi's got an incredible try scoring record, and I think he's got about 20 tries in 30. So he's got 110 points. So he's got, do the math, he's got 22 tries in 36 games. 22 tries. Kurt Lawrence has got 10 tries in 8 games. It's interesting that for a team as boring as the Boks, how good our wings try scoring records are. So it's an interesting thing there, isn't it? So using a 9.3. Right, Andre Estesen, once again, I'm leaning towards an 8. He had a quiet second half, but in that first half, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Goes to the World Cup for me. 8.3, that's interesting. Yeah, for me, it goes to the World Cup. I think today we saw that Andre Estesen is also not just the brutal fridge on drugs type of player. Dale Indy has got competition for the first time in a long time. And Estesen had a couple of games in the last 3 years, but I think we always would watch him and go, good, not Dale Indy. Today, I think we went, interesting. He plays very different to Dale Indy. Dale Indy plays like an auxiliary forward. He gets to do a lot more sort of the grind work. You see Dale Indy rucking a lot, and obviously carries very directly a lot. Estesen today a lot more freedom to offload, to bring his boot into the play and use his full skill set. So he's a very different type of player, but showed today how he is still very effective, and that form from the Premiership is definitely coming through. Very impressive. Lekanyo, I thought was good. It's not the Lekanyo we're used to. I'm a little bit worried about its lack of pace. He doesn't seem to have the pace he had. For example, I don't think I'll be playing him on the wing very comfortably at the moment. But I thought that defensively, I mean, he made a couple of very important tackles. I thought he organized the defense relatively well. Sometimes Kenny Moody shot out quickly, but Lekanyo, I thought, for me, his awareness is still there. And that's the nice thing. The pace might have gone. Well, it might not be as what it was a couple of years ago. And again, the more he plays, the more he'll get it back. But I think his awareness is always going to stay there. The way he reads the game is always so good. So, from that perspective, I think he's so important to the team. Welcome back to the Members Club, Cammy Davis. Very nice to have you back. Vic saying Estesen is challenging Dale Indy. Grant, what? I didn't even recognize you with the new profile picture there, but saying this is the best game that Estesen had in the Boks jersey. Hans saying, Steve, how would we play, or should we play against the All Blacks? I think pretty direct, to be honest. I think you can bully that pack, and I think give our wings one-on-ones with their wings. I think they've got good wings, but I think defensive. I think on the attack, I think we can get the better of them. Reza saying Estesen has been waiting for the opportunity to show off his new skill set. Best thing he ever did was to leave SA and learn not just be a battering ram. 100%. I mean, I think somebody was there this week was saying how apparently Jake White told him that he should convert to a flank. I think today he showed very much why he's not a flank and he's a very good inside centre. Vic says, nice pass, nice assist to Aronson from and Cammy saying, we need to back all our players next week, whether they play cuck or great, stronger together. Yeah, 100%, Cammy, all about that. All about the stronger together. It's actually in the back of the jersey and everything. Right, so the Kanya for me is going to get a 7. I don't think anything massively special. I think 7.3 is pretty solid. So and Caden, well, that's not Caden Moody. Caden Moody's lost a bit of weight and got a lot more curly hair. So a bit of an error on our system. But Caden Moody, I thought he was like a bit of all or nothing, wasn't he? I mean, I thought he had a good game, and I thought he had some absolutely brilliant moments. You can see, I mean, man's 20 years old, eh? He's 20. But you can see that, yes, and because he's 20, there's going to be mistakes. He's going to have mistakes in him. That's inevitable. But there's a world-class player in there waiting to come out. And we saw that with that kick, for example. He almost had a brilliant 50-22. He had a couple of very good takes out the air. He rounded at Australia a couple of times. So he made a couple of errors on defense, but he's going to. He's a kid. Will he go to the World Cup? I'm not sure. Will he be there in the next World Cup? Absolutely. And the fact that he is looking pretty comfortable at international level at 20 years old means that you've got a hell of a career ahead of him. So I'm going to give him a 7. 7.4. I think it's about right. And then we're going to have to talk about Willie LaRue, because Willie LaRue was, Willie the GOAT, really. Today was one of the best games I think I've seen from Willie LaRue. I've never seen... Well, I have. He's had some phenomenal games. But today, did it not look like he had 4 years on the ball every time he touches the ball? When was Willie LaRue ever rushed today? When was Willie LaRue ever panicking today? He just didn't. Doesn't. And I think for me, that's what is so good about him, is his composure. And I think playing with a Kirkley Orenser, a Canan Moody, what those kids will get from playing with Willie LaRue is just stupid amounts of experience. And I think he's going to, playing for the Bulls, I think it's going to be one of the best things for the likes of a Canan Moody, Kirkley Orenser, Simon Nabuka, for example, a couple of nice young wins down there. But it's just the calmness for me, the presence of mind, the lack of panic. And last year, and to be fair, he wasn't good. Last year, everybody was absolutely slating for his kick from a touch, and they wasn't good. How well did he kick for touch today? How many times were we on their back foot, and he just went into that left boot, and bang! All of a sudden, they're back on the halfway line. But he's going, yeah, shut up, thanks. Cheers. Get out of there. I'm going to give Billy an 8. Maybe, in fact, I'm going to take that back and give him a 9. I thought today he was, and it's not going to change, there's a lot of votes. And I'm glad, because he suffers so much hate. But I thought today he was absolutely superb. He managed that game down to a T. David Williams is one of my favorite players in the world right now. Really starts at 15 every week. Sorry, Damien for me is 23. Damien could start at 10, 12, 15, and I wouldn't be upset. But for me, I watched Willie LaRue today, and I think that's a guy you want to have in any sort of pressure situation. We're going to go through the bench very quickly. I thought Joe Streb was actually very good. I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he came on, added a good physicality. He had a couple of nice carries. Didn't miss a line out. I think that's very harsh. But some people just don't like him, to be honest. He didn't actually make a single mistake. Thomas Satoy, a couple of nice carries and good scrum as well. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. 6.8. Vincent Clark, same thing. Going to give him a 7. 7.1. Arcus Neyman, they didn't get a lot of game time yet. Arcus Neyman was on for quite a while, so I'm going to give him a 7. 7.4. Yeah, a couple of nice takes in the line out. Didn't get to carry as much as we would like him to have done. But was still pretty involved. Evan Ruiz, yeah, a little bit try-line fever. Didn't do too much. I'll probably give him a 6. Not a bad game, but just didn't have much to do. 6.9 is fair. Dion Free had that very one nice break. We're going to give him a 6 as average, by the way. So when in doubt, we give him a 6. So he wasn't on for very long, so 7 is fine. Well, Grant Williams actually added a bit of impetus and looked pretty exciting. So I'll give him a 7. I don't think he did enough. 7.9, I think, is quite high for him. He did play very well when he came on. I just don't think he had enough game time really to sort of build that up. And then Damien Willems was on for next to nothing. So I'm going to give him a 6 as average, by the way. When in doubt, we're going to give a 6. We give 6. That's what we do. 7.3. Right, people. The only thing I've got left to do before I take a little bit of a break, before we come back for some very exciting Rugby Championship action, is to end the poll. 382 people have voted. And today, your man of the match was, shock and horror, Kurt Lee Orenser. What a performance from him. Absolutely brilliant. And people, that brings us to the end of the player rating show. We will be live almost immediately as our build-up does start for Argentina versus Australia. Join us for that game. Please come and keep me company. Like, don't leave me hanging. I mean, we had like 5,000 people at a stage watching the block game. Don't come and make me watch Argentina versus New Zealand with like 50 people. Let's try and get another 1,000, 2,000, get more subscribers. Do all. I mean, let's just take over the YouTube space, shall we? Let's reconvene in an hour's time. I'm going to go have some food and get my life in order. And I will see you guys all very soon. Thank you very much, everybody, for jumping on the player ratings. And we'll see you guys at the Argentina versus New Zealand